Hello students, this is Gajan Bhate from Prabhat Kids School. I welcome you all to the one another chapter of English from class 9 Behind the Little Girl. Students, before moving ahead, let me ask you some questions. Have you observed that one of your parents is very strict, very stern in behavior? Have you tried to find out the answer why one of them is very strict? Maybe father or mother. Can anybody? Can you tell me what is the reason behind this? Are they really very strict and stern, or their behavior sometimes is artificial? Actually, students, the reason is they are not permanently very strict or very stern. Sometimes maybe father or mother, one has to be very strict and stern because they think that if unnecessary freedom is given, children can astray from their paths. This is some kind of insecurity in their mind. They don't want to lose their children from the right path, and that's why, for the sake of discipline, they behave sometimes very rudely. And that particular age, we do not understand the reason behind their strictness. Students, the story that we are going to deal today, the little girl, is also a very delicate story, a bond between a daughter and father. Hello students, as I told you, the topic today we are going to deal with is the little girl. Now let me introduce the topic. The little girl, actually the story of a little girl, it's by Catherine Mansfield, is about a father and daughter relationship. The little girl in the story, Kezia, is so scared of her father that she hardly meets eyes with him. Eventually, she realizes that her father is not as hard-hearted as she thinks he is. Let me tell you about the poet Catherine Mansfield. Catherine Mansfield had been New Zealand's most famous writer. She was closely associated with D.H. Lawrence and was a royal rival to Virginia Woolf. Mansfield's creative years were burdened with loneliness, illness, jealousy, alienation, and all this reflected in her workplace with the bitter depiction of family relation of her middle class characters. Mansfield depicted trivial events and subtle changes in human behavior. Let us begin the chapter. To the little girl, he was a figure to be feared and avoided. Now here he is referred to Kezia's father. For Kezia, he was a figure of feared and avoided. Means she was always scared to him. Every morning before going to work, he came into her room and gave her a casual kiss, to which she responded with goodbye, father, and oh, there was a glad sense of relief when she heard the noise of the carriage growing fainter and fainter down the long road. Every morning before leaving home, her father would reach to her room and he would give her a casual kiss. She would greet her father by saying goodbye, and you can just imagine how happy she was when she realizes that her father is going away. Actually here fainter means weaker. When the carriage, it is a cart driven by horses. When It goes far. She is very happy. It's a sense of emancipation to the girl. In the evening, when he came home, she stood near the staircase and heard his loud voice in the hall. In the evening, the arrival of her father. You just imagine how fearful, how scary the girl was when she realizes that her father is to come. She would be there on the staircases. Bring my tea into the drawing room. Hasn't the paper come yet? Mother, go and see if my paper's out there and bring me my slippers. Now, this person, her father, who was just like a dictator or very authoritative person, he had his impression all over the house, and his image as a dictator has been revealed here. So Kijia, he was scared of his dictatorship. Kizia's mother would call to her, if you are a good girl, you can come down and take off father's boots. Slowly the girl would slip down the stairs, more slowly still across the hall, and push open the drawing room door. Now, when she was asked by her mother to come and to remove the boots of her father, she would slip down. Now, what is mean of slip down? Slip down means to come down quietly and unwillingly. She was very scared of her father. So, in this way, she would come there. By that time, he had his spectacles on and looked at her over them in a way that was terrifying to the little girl. And the way he would look at her, it was a very terrifying sight. Why it was terrifying sight? Because he would look at her over the spectacles. Well, Kizia, hurry up and pull off these boots and take them outside. Have you been a good girl today? He would ask her whether she was a good girl that day. Don't know, father. And she would stutter. She would stammer. You don't know? If you stutter like that, mother will have to take you to the doctor. Now, stuttering means to speak unclearly or hesitantly. He told her if she stuttered the same way, then she would be taken to hospital, to the doctor. She never stuttered with other people, had quite given it up, but only with father, because then she was trying so hard to say the words properly. When she was before her father, she would try to utter the words more properly, more cautiously, and it was the reason she would stutter before her father. Otherwise, before other people, she didn't have that habit. Actually, she had given it up. What is given it up? Actually, stopped. What's the matter? What are you looking so wretched about, mother? I wish you taught this child not to appear on the brink of suicide. Now, father wanted to know what was the matter, why she stuttered, why she looked so sad. He wanted to know from mother and instructed if she stuttered in the same way, if she behaved so sadly, if she looked so sadly, then it would be very terrible. He didn't want her to be on the brink of suicide. What is to brink on suicide means? About to commit suicide. So she should not look unhappy before him. Here, Kezia, carry my teacups back to the table carefully. And she is instructed to take the teacups properly. He was so big, his hands and his neck, especially his mouth when he yawned. Now, from the perspective of Kezia, he was a big man. His hands were big, his neck especially was very big, his mouth was big, and he just seemed like a giant. Thinking about him alone was like thinking about a giant. And whenever the figure appeared before her, she would feel that he was the person like a giant. On Sunday afternoon, grandmother sent her down to the drawing room to have a nice talk with father and mother. No, we generally know grandmothers are very sensible. They are full of wisdoms. So what she would do, she would ask Kizia to go down and to have a nice talk, to have a quality time with her parents. But the little girl always found mother reading and father stretched out on the sofa, his handkerchief on his face, his feet on one of the best cushions, sleeping soundly and snorting. But whenever she reached there, she finds that father he is stretched on the sofa and mother she is reading a newspaper. So she doesn't get actually quality time with her parents, and every time with this conception when she reaches she finds both are busy in their work. She sat on a stool, gravely watched him until he woke and stretched. She comes and sits on a stool and gravely means very seriously, she seriously watches her father until he wakes up and stretches and asks the time when looked at her, "Don't stare so, Kizia. You look like a little brown owl." And again, when he finds her very sad, very wretched, he again asks her not to look like a brown owl. One day, when she was kept indoors with the cold, her grandmother told her that father's birthday was next week and suggested she should make him a pin cushion for a gift out of a beautiful piece of yellow silk. One day, grandmother advised her that her father's birthday was approaching. So, why not? A birthday gift should be given to her father. So, she advised and suggested to prepare a very beautiful pin cushion for her father to gift him on his birthday, and that should be made of yellow silk. Laboriously, with a double cotton, the little girl stitched three sides. Laboriously means with a lot of efforts or difficulty. And with all the toils, the girl, she stitched the cloth by three sides, but what to fill it with? But a question rised before her, what to fill in it? What stuff should be there? That was the question. The grandmother was out in the garden and she wandered into the mother's bedroom to look for scrape. Now, what is scrape? Scrape means small pieces of clothes or paper, etc., that are not needed. So, she required some stuff or some scrape. So, she wandered here and there, and finally, she reached her mother's bedroom. On the bed table, she discovered a great many sheets of fine paper, gathered them up, tore them into many pieces, and stuffed her case, then sewed up the four sides. When she reached there, what she found, some papers were lying on the bed table. She took the pages, gathered them, torn them into pieces, and she stuffed this material in the cushion, and the fourth side was sewed up. That night, there was a hue and cry in the house after this incident. There was a hue and cry. What a hue and cry? It's angry protest. Father's great speech for the Port Authority had been lost. Father was very angry. Every member of the family looked so serious because father's speech that was written on the papers, all the papers were lost, and that speech he had to deliver for the Port Authority. Rooms were searched, servants were questioned. Finally, mother came into Kezia's room. Every servant was questioned. All the rooms were searched, and finally, Kezia's mother asked Kezia, Kezia, I suppose you didn't see some papers on a table in our room. She asked whether she found some pages in her room. Oh, yes, she said. I tore them up for my surprise. Kezia, as she was very innocent, she accepted the fact that she tore all the pages and utilized for the pincushion. What? Screamed mother. Now it was a shock to the mother too. Come straight down to the dining room this instant. And she was dragged down to where father was pacing to and fro. Why pacing to and fro? Because he was very anxious as well as angry. And when he understood, when he realized that Kezia was the mastermind behind all this scenario, then he was very angry. Hands behind his back. Well, he said sharply. Mother explained. He stopped and stared at the child. Did you do that? No, no, she whispered. Mother, go up to the room and fetch down the damn thing. See that the child put to bed this instant. He was very angry and he instructed mother to take her to her bedroom. Crying too much to explain, she lay in the shadowed room watching the evening light make a sad little pattern on the floor. No, she started crying. She started sobbing. She tried to explain what exactly happened. She tried to explain what was the purpose behind this, but there was nobody to listen to her. She observed the shadowed room and the pattern of light on the floor. Then father came into the room with a ruler in his hands, and the arrival of father with the ruler, it was enough to understand that the girl was about to be punished. I'm going to beat you for this, he said. Oh, no, no, she screamed, hiding under the bedclothes. She tried to save herself. She tried to escape from the wrath of her father so that she would be saved. She tried to hide herself, her face under the bedclothes. He pulled them aside. Sit up, he ordered, and hold out your hands. You must be taught once and for all not to touch what does not belong to. He was very angry. The speech that was written on the pages he had to deliver the next day, that was torn by Kezia. He was angry because Kezia touched something that she didn't belong to. So he wanted to give her a lesson not to touch the things she didn't belong to. But it was not for but it was for your birthday. Down came the ruler on her little pink palms. She tried to explain that the cushion that was prepared and the pages which were torn and kept stuffed into the cushion, actually it was a birthday gift she wanted to give him. But the father was not in the mood to listen to his daughter. The ruler came down and she was punished. Hours later, when grandmother had wrapped her in a shawl and rocked her in the rocking chair, the child clung to her soft body. Clung, it is past tense of cling. Now, after this incident, when she was punished, when she was beaten by her father, she clung to her grandmother because her grandmother was the person very close to her. What did God make fathers for? She sobbed. Sobbing means to cry, not making noise. She started sobbing, and one question that occupied in her mind, why God made fathers? Because she didn't like the behavior of her father. Here's a clean hanky, darling. Blow your nose, go to sleep, pet. You'll forget all about it in the morning. According to grandmother, she would forget all the things in the morning after waking up. I tried to explain father, but he was too upset to listen tonight. Actually, the father was very angry and she didn't want any kind of explanation. Grandmother tried to explain what exactly happened, but the man was not in the mood to listen that night. But the child never forgot. Next time she saw him, she quickly put both hands behind her back and a red color flew into her cheeks. Next time, when she saw her father, she didn't forget the incident, how she was punished. Her cheeks became red, and it was a sign that she was scared of her father. The McDonald's lived next door. Now, the McDonald family, you can see in the picture, they lived next door to her house. They had five children. Looking through a gap in the fence, the little girl saw them playing tag in the evening. Tag means a children's game of catching one another. She observed from the fence, through the fence, that the MacDonald, the father, he was playing with all the five children. The father with the baby Mao on his shoulder. What do you observe in the picture? The father, he has taken the girl on his shoulder. Two little girls hanging on to his coat pockets ran around and around floor beds. Two girls you observe, they are hanging to his coat pocket, and two boys, they are just hanging or they are running around like the flower beds, shaking with laughter. Once she saw the boys turn the hose on him, tap of water that was on him, and he tried to catch them laughing all the time. Means here she finds that the family that lives next to her, it was a very happy family. The father very amiable, very loving, and spending time with his children. But at the other hand, her father was very angry and she was scared of him. Then it was, she decided there were different sorts of father, and she formed an opinion in her mind that there are two types of fathers. There are two categories of fathers. One which are very amiable like Mr. McDonald's, and other like her father who is very strict and very stern. Suddenly, one day, mother became ill and she and grandmother went to hospital. One day, what happened? Mother was ill, so she was taken to hospital and grandmother had to go with her. The little girl was left alone in the house with Alice. Alice, the cook of the family, she had to stay with Alice. That was all right in the daytime, but while Alice was putting her to bed, she grew suddenly afraid. During the daytime, she was okay. She didn't have any problem. But when it was time to go to bed, then it was really a very terrible one. She was afraid to dark. I'll do if I have a nightmare. What will I do if I have a nightmare? She asked. I often have nightmares and then Granny takes me into her bed. I can't stay in the dark. It all gets whispery. Actually, what problem Kizia has? When she is alone or at night, generally she has nightmares. What nightmares? Bad dreams. And whenever she has night dreams, grandmother is always there to console her, to comfort her. Unfortunately, that day grandmother was not with her. Then she was frightened. She was doubtful, a little suspicious. What would happen if there was no grandmother in the nightmare? You just go to sleep, child. said Alice, pulling off her socks, and don't you scream and wake your poor fa. She instructed Alice that father he didn't have enough time to sleep, so not to disturb him, not to trouble him. But the same old nightmare came. The butcher with a knife and a rope who came nearer and nearer, smiling that dreadful smile, while she could not move, could only stand still, crying out, Grandma, Grandma. She awoke shivering to see father beside her bed, a candle in his hand. And unfortunately, exactly happened the same. She had the same nightmare, the butcher with the knife and rope. He came nearer and nearer, smiling with a very dreadful smiling, and she could not even move. She started crying out and shouted, Grandma, Grandma. And when she woke up, she found that her father was standing exactly by her bed with a candle. What's matter? He said. He asked. He inquired. What was the problem? Oh, a butcher, a knife. I want Granny. He blew out the candle. And she told that she had a nightmare. There was a butcher with the knife, and she required Granny then. He extinguished. What is blew out? Extinguished the candle, bent down and caught up the child in his arm, carrying her along the passage to the big bedroom. He took the girl in his arms and the girl was taken, Kizia was taken to his bedroom. A newspaper was on the bed. He put away the paper, then carefully tucked up the child. What is tucked up? Covered up nicely in bed. She was comforted by her father on his bed. Half asleep, still with the butcher's smile all about her, it seemed she crept close to him. Crept means slept. At the very first time, she slept very close to her father. Snuggled her head under his arm. Now, snuggled means hiding actually. Hiding or in a very protective cover. She held him tightly with his shirt. Then the dark did not matter. She lay still. Here, rub your feet against my legs and get them warm, said father. Due to cold or due to anxiety or due to fear, she became very cold. Father instructed her to rub her feet against his feet so that she would feel warm. Tired out, he slept before the little girl. When she observed, when she crept beside her father, she observed that her father was really tired. A funny feeling came over her. Poor father, not so big after all. Initially, when she had a perception for her father, who was like a giant, big in figure, now the same father she found very amiable. After all, and with no one to look after him, he worked so hard. He tired always, but there was nobody to look after him. He was harder than grandmother, but it was a nice hardness. And every day he had to work and was too tired to be Mr. MacDonald. She understood. She realized the fact that her father could not be Mr. MacDonald because both were different persons. Her father had to work hard, he didn't have any time, and there was nobody to look after him. She had torn up all his beautiful writing. She stirred suddenly and sighed. And when she realized that the very beautiful writing by him was torn by her, she stirred, she moved and sighed. What's the matter? Asked her father. another dream. And when father woke up, when he realized that the girl was somewhat anxious, he again inquired whether she had the same dream. "Oh," said the little girl, "my head's on your heart. I can hear it going. What a big heart you have got, father dear." Now her head was on his heart, and she could understand, she could feel the pace that was going on. And at the very first time, she realizes that her father has a big heart. Her father really a very big hearted person. So this is all about the chapter The Little Girl. Students, there is a very beautiful message hidden in this story. The perception of the girl, the point of view of the girl for her father was actually wrong. Parents sometimes may be very harsh, very strict, very disciplined, but ultimately they think the betterment of their children. They only think of their family members. So don't be negative towards your parents. They obviously and always think of you only. Thank you.